You grab a snack because it feels safe, fast, and familiar. But what if I told you the same snacks we reach for during movies, road trips, or lazy afternoons can quietly damage your body over time? Today, we're uncovering 5 everyday picks that look harmless on the shelf but hide risks you won't see coming. By the end, you'll understand which ones deserve a second thought before that next bite. Number 1, potato chips. Crispy, salty, and everywhere. Potato chips feel like the safest, most ordinary snack. But what if each bag carried hidden chemical stress you can't taste? You see them as a casual treat, the kind of food that shows up at a picnic, a ball game, or on your coffee table during a movie night. They seem harmless because they're cheap, common, and tied to easy moments, not high-risk choices. Yet the danger doesn't come from where you'd expect. When potatoes are fried at the scorching temperatures needed for that signature crunch, a compound forms inside them. It's called acrylamide. Here's the unsettling part. Acrylamide doesn't announce itself. There's no bitter taste, no strange smell, nothing you'd notice as you chew. But your body notices. At the cellular level, those molecules hit nervous tissue and DNA like static in a circuit. You won't feel it right away, but the wear builds over time. It's like a shadow chemical riding along with the crunch. You bite, you get salt and oil flavor, but tucked between the bubbles of that golden crust sits an invisible hitchhiker. Unlike salt or fat, you can't adjust your intake with flavor alone. You don't sense it. That's why it slides under the radar. Here's the truth. Chips cause more harm than the calorie label suggests. Cutting fat grams doesn't solve it. Baking doesn't fully prevent it either. Acrylamide locks into the starch once high heat does its work. It's a conversion problem, not a recipe choice. Few snackers realize frying transforms a plain potato into a chemical question mark. You think you're just managing portion size, but the hazard is baked into the chip itself. For seniors, the issue is sharper. Nerve cells don't bounce back quickly as we age, and your body becomes less efficient at processing toxic byproducts. That means the same level of exposure can leave deeper marks over time. Think about this. An occasional bag isn't just junk food. It's stress that echoes through your system long after the crunch has faded. Bottom line, it isn't the calories. You can walk those off. It isn't even just the saturated fat. Your blood vessels can deal with some of that, especially if balanced by healthy choices. The real danger hides in the chemistry, a compound no label warns you about formed by the cooking method itself. That's what transforms a friendly side snack into a quiet threat. You see chips stacked in every store aisle, all looking the same. Safe, generic, almost boring. But that's the trick. What looks low stakes is in fact a stress test your body never asked for. Now at number 2, another movie night favorite that proves convenience can mask real harm. Number 2, microwave popcorn. You hear the popping, smell the butter, and think cozy comfort. But what if the danger lurks in the bag itself? Microwave popcorn feels like the safest companion for family nights, game marathons, or a quick snack you barely think about. It promises speed, a warm aroma, and zero effort. Yet the hidden risks have nothing to do with the corn itself. Your real problem is what surrounds it. Most microwave bags aren't just paper. They're coated with substances meant to stop oil from leaking through. The catch is that many of those coatings belong to a family of chemicals known as PFAS. You may have heard them called forever chemicals. That nickname matters. Once they're inside you, your body can't easily flush them out. They stay parked in tissues, stubborn for years, slowly stacking exposure meal after meal. Here's the truth. You don't see or taste these compounds, but they travel with every popped handful. For seniors especially, that matters because age slows the body's cleanup systems. The more buildup you carry, the higher the chance of strains showing up in liver, kidney, or hormone function down the line. It's not the butter tricking you, it's the chemical shield of the bag itself. And the problem doesn't end there. The butter-like flavoring used in many microwave popcorn packs isn't just oil and salt. It can break down into volatile compounds when heated. Open a steaming bag, inhale that blast of vapor, and tiny irritants slip down your airways. While your exposure is short, factory workers producing artificial butter flavor have shown what constant inhalation can do, damaging lung tissue over time. That's the industrial echo sealed into your household snack. So it's not just corn in a bag, it's like steaming kernels inside a chemical jacket. The crackle and buttery scent disguise the fact that what tastes light and simple actually carries a signature from industrial labs. You think you're eating the lighter sibling of greasy snacks, but the packaging itself plants risk before the corn ever cools. Bottom line, the popcorn isn't only corn and butter. The bag becomes part of the recipe, and that hidden ingredient doesn't vanish with the last salty bite. The trade-off for convenience is chemical baggage your body never asked to store. Want the truth about what's really safe? Subscribe now so you won't get fooled. Because what looks like a clean, low-calorie snack can end up being one of the most contaminated corners of your cupboard. Next up, one of the healthiest-looking snacks on shelves is hiding a surprise of its own. Number 3, rice cakes. They look innocent, light, crunchy, and marketed as guilt-free. But what if one rice cake mirrors the risks of a fast food burger? For decades, these puffy discs have been sold as the ultimate low-calorie snack, a safe swap for chips or crackers. Parents hand them to kids, dieters crunch them for control, and almost everyone assumes the same thing. They're harmless. That's the illusion. Here's the kicker. Rice cakes send your blood sugar soaring faster than many sweet treats you'd expect to be worse. Bite into one and the starch rushes through your system almost instantly. Your pancreas scrambles to pump out insulin, trying to corral the sudden flood of glucose. In the short term, you feel a burst of quick energy, but just as quickly the crash hits, a drained, hungry state that pulls you straight back to the pantry. It's like tossing kerosene on a small flame. Instant fire, instant crash. That constant roller coaster doesn't just wear on your energy levels. Over time, it conditions your metabolism to swing harder and recover slower. Your pancreas shoulders repeated stress, pumping insulin like it's running fire drills day after day. That's a dangerous workload, especially when years stack up. It's not about how little a rice cake weighs in your hand. It's about how heavily it lands on your body's systems. Now add another layer you don't see advertised. Rice naturally absorbs more arsenic from soil and water than many other grains. When rice is puffed into cakes, that arsenic doesn't go away. It concentrates. You won't taste it, you won't smell it, but it stays part of the product. Think of it as a silent tag-along, a trace element your body doesn't benefit from and can't easily get rid of. Seniors in particular face more risk here because detox systems like the liver and kidneys slow with age. What seems like a tiny dose collected here and there can become a steady reservoir your body struggles to clear. And that light, airy crispness that looks so safe? That's part of the problem. There's almost no fiber, no protein, no balance to slow down the sugar spike or buffer the chemical load. The very emptiness marketed as clean is what sets you up for a crash and leaves your body exposed. Bottom line, the rice cake may weigh almost nothing, but its impact on your system lands heavy. That innocent snap between your teeth delivers empty carbs, hormonal whiplash, and hidden contaminants. Diet food image aside, this is one snack that sabotages more than it supports. Moving from light and airy to tough and chewy, the next snack is marketed as protein strength, but hides a different trap. Number 4, beef jerky. Marketed as a low-fat food source for hikers, athletes, or anyone who is constantly on the move. However, what if the road trip itself was not as dangerous as that strip of meat? Beef jerky is perceived as having a tough and harsh appearance. It can be found in petrol stations, gyms, and pantry shelves, where it is considered to be a symbol of strong food. It appears to be a straightforward choice, merely dried meat. And because of its long shelf life, it seems to be a more sensible option than fast food or greasy snacks. Because of that reputation, jerky gives the impression of being a completely reliable source of pure protein. However, this is the reality of the situation. Jerky is able to achieve its extended shelf life and chewy bite because of the processing it undergoes, not only because it is dried. Sodium nitrite is used by the majority of brands as a preservative. Nitrosamines, which are substances that are widely recognized for their potential to cause cancer, can be produced from nitrites within your body. The issue is related to the conversion process. It occurs discreetly, a significant amount of time after the jerky has been packaged and sold. You cannot smell it, and you cannot taste it, but over time your tissues keep track of the harm. Imagine you are voraciously tearing into meat that comes from the old world. But what you are actually consuming is chemistry that is more similar to what you would find in a processed lunch packet. The salt load is overwhelming in and of itself. Sodium can be compressed to a level that is much higher than what your heart and blood vessels ought to transport simultaneously with just one handful. The intake of additional salt causes blood pressure to increase, which puts additional stress on your heart. The effects of this strain may not become apparent until several years have passed. As people get older, the arteries that carry blood throughout the body lose part of their suppleness, which makes it more difficult to absorb each salty punch from jerky. You are not being fueled by the protein, rather you are being overwhelmed by the salt. You think of jerky as primal fuel, but it's chemically far removed from a steak. That dried strip looks rugged and clean, yet it often wears the same chemical profile as a factory-processed deli slice. The romance of jerky, the idea of trail food hardened by fire and time, gets swapped for vats, preservatives, and salt baths. It's like expecting spring water and getting flavored tap with additives. And here comes the most unexpected twist. The marketing industry continues to place a great deal of attention on protein. Labels list grams as if they are proof of health, while leaving preservation chemicals in microscopic text. As you walk away, you are under the impression that you have made a decision that is both difficult and beneficial to your health. However, each bite involves the consumption of more than just protein. It attracts nitrosamines, nitrites, and salt, which are all elements that accelerate the aging process from within the body. The problem is made even worse by the portion paradox, which is the fact that the chemical baggage is excessive even though the serving feels tiny. To get down to the nitty-gritty, jerky certainly provides protein. However, that power snack is accompanied with compounds that, over time, gradually erode one's long-term health. Preservation food, which is designed to have a long shelf life, is frequently mistaken for survival food. This is because, unlike survival food, preservation food is not intended to be consumed by humans. Number 5, candy. Bright fun, a symbol of joy. But what if candy was the most powerful long-term poison on the list? It feels harmless because it's tied to childhood, birthdays, and holidays. The colors are inviting, the shapes are playful, and the taste delivers an instant lift. That mix of nostalgia and sugar tricks you into thinking it's lighthearted fuel. Yet what feels like a tiny reward in the moment sets off a chain reaction far beyond the smile it gives. Here's the truth. Candy is not just about pure sugar. The dyes used to make it bright seep into your bloodstream almost as quickly as the glucose. Those artificial colors aren't just decoration. They've been flagged for links to mood swings, restless focus, and hyperactive bursts, especially in children. For adults, exposure adds to stress on brain chemistry that already has enough to balance. You think you're chewing harmless sweetness, but the chemistry paints itself through tissues, amplifying effects you were never meant to manage just from a snack. Sugar itself ramps the problem up. Each handful floods your blood with glucose, forcing insulin into emergency mode. The crash doesn't feel dramatic at first. Maybe a dip in energy, maybe hunger an hour later. But stacked over time, this cycle lays down the path toward insulin resistance. That's the breeding ground for diabetes and metabolic strain. And it happens invisibly. One fun-sized piece here and there won't signal an alarm, but your body records it in subtle ways day after day. Think of each candy piece as a spark. Alone, it fades. But over time, the sparks land together and build a fire that spreads quietly across your system. That's the hidden burn. Steady, slow, and dangerous. And while your blood chemistry takes the biggest hit, your mouth pays the price too. Sugar acts like fuel for bacteria, letting them coat teeth in acid byproducts that break down enamel. Over years, what begins as a simple sweet tooth turns into repeated filings, crowns, and gum strain that cost far more than the candy itself. Here's the kicker. The same bright dyes tied to restless energy in kids are still legally sold on shelves. Safety debates continue, yet shelves stay stocked. Seniors and adults assume candy's worst consequence is cavities, but your brain, blood, and pancreas face hidden stress long before the dentist's chair. And because candy is small, cheap, and accessible, it becomes a silent daily habit rather than an occasional treat. That constant exposure is what does the long haul damage. Bottom line, candy isn't just bad for your teeth. It buries traps in mood, metabolism, and overall health. The rush fades, the crash lingers, and your body pays interest long after the taste is gone. And that brings us to the big question. What do all these snacks reveal about the food you trust? 5 snacks you thought were safe turned out to carry hidden dangers you never see on a label. From acrylamide in chips to chemicals sealed into popcorn bags, the risks sit right under your nose with no warning signs. That's the myth of innocent snacking. Here's the truth. A 41% rise in food recalls in 2024 showed how common hidden contamination has become. As one food safety director put it, many foods are healthy when handled right, but knowing when to skip matters. The bottom line, your body pays for what marketing hides. Subscribe now and I'll show you what to avoid and what's actually safe.